Good morning. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for, dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that collaboration, the team I'm part of in regards to that show reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world in 2022 and 2021. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Regularly, you see, to what, I don't know which side of me, Ryan Knight co-hosting with me on the show. He is not with us today. He has some stuff to do with his kiddos. So Ryan is not with us this morning. So let's do some stuff before we get into it. And for those who celebrated in Canada, happy Thanksgiving weekend. And for those who celebrated in the States, happy Columbus Day weekend in the United States. So some things before we get going on. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe show on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you get notified about upcoming conversations. Also follow the Dr. Vibe show on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. To advertise your product or service on the Dr. Vibe show, touch base with me. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And finally, join the Morning Vibe email list. No, Discord group. Discord group. That's how you can do it. And then you can email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Interesting things going on in the world. If you watch, Canada has its first Black Canadian speaker of the House of Commons. So congratulations to Mr. Greg Fergus. And he is now the first Black Canadian to be Speaker of the House of Commons. So I've had conversations with Greg in the past, haven't spoken with him for a long time, but congratulations to him. Then on the other end of the stick, if you look down south of the United States, political chaos, the Speaker of the House thrown out basically by 8 Republicans throughout the Speaker of the House of Representatives in the United States. And it's interesting, and maybe just before, when I bring Wayne up before we get into his main topic, how, if any, does impacts or political impacts like that have impacts on stock markets, finances, etc.? Because especially in the United States, it's a very disruptive society right now. And how does that have impact on the economy of not only the United States, but the world? Program alert. Monday, we'll probably be running a replay since it's a national holiday. We may or may not. It all depends how Ryan and I feel. And next Friday, tentatively, we have Moses Bawa from Afro Global Television talking a little bit about Afro Global Television, and their upcoming Afro Global Awards, where they're going to be honoring a number of Black Canadians who have made great contributions to Black Canada and other places around the world. So that's a little bit of a program update. Okay, let's say, Lala Key. Good morning, Lala Key. And thank you for reminding me. Also, Saturday night, we will have State of Things with Alicia, Jill, and Lala, who will basically be talking about everything good, bad, and not so good going on in the United States. Program alert. There can be interesting language at times on the platform, especially when we do it live. So if you can tolerate the interesting language, it's good. Oh, a lot of people chime in this. So good morning, Dr. Vibes. I don't know if there's 2 of me, but I guess we'll be posting out our 3rd blog on our website soon. It'll be about gourmet coffee, what it really takes to achieve perfection from farm to cup. I hope you check it out and share it widely, share it with Torontonians. Okay. Well, make me aware when you're doing it, and maybe we can get you on the show. Family, you should be taking advantage of not only Wayne, but 2 people in this. I'm going to hail them up. 2 wonderful people. Laura Key, who has expertise in international real estate, especially in, I'll just say, the other side of the Atlantic. I'll just leave it at that. And then Ray McMillan, who has a lot of experience of Canada, US, and also the Caribbean. So if you're interested in those things, you should reach out to those people. And if you don't know how to, contact me and I'll get you in contact with them. And actually, I'm going to throw it out to both of them. We haven't had that meeting yet where I've introduced you both to each other, but I'd like, if possible, to get both of you on the Morning Vibe and talk about international real estate. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Laura says, thank you. Looking forward to talking to everyone. Ray, let's schedule a call. Bam. All right. You see that? The gauntlet, Laura has set the gauntlet down. So let me get to Wayne Harris, who does Financial First Fridays, the first Friday of every month. Ray says, would love the opportunity, Laura Key and Dr. Okay, there you go. So we're going to make it happen. And Olaf, sounds like a plan. Maybe I'll join the show sometimes. Our blog link is rocksteadycoffee.com/blogs and news. All right. Let me just get Wayne up here, because if I don't, I'm going to be doing comments all day long. Mr. Harris, what's going on?
Sir, yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Vibe. Happy October.
Happy October to you too. How did you enjoy the nice warm weather we had for the last few days until we had the dip today?
Let me tell you, October was very, very different than I remember it most years. I'll take it. I saw the rain yesterday and I said, oh, back to reality. And I see my trees outside shedding their
leaves. Yes. People, they don't know that Wayne does a lot of wonderful stuff outside of here, not only helping people with their finances, but Wayne, if you just want to share, last night you hosted an online event last night, and I just wanted you to share a little bit with our family here.
Yes. Let me see. Maybe I can pull it up on the slide.
Okay, I can do that. I'll pull up that. You want that slide that we got right now? Okay.
Exactly. There
we go.
So this is what we did last night. We have a member of my team whose wife passed away from breast cancer. And we just walked them through his story, their story, as well as let them know about certain things they can do to mitigate the financial risk of becoming sick or disabled for an extended period of time, and some of the programs that I have through my company to keep your income exactly where it is while you go through and convalesce, because there are two things that can cause you grief. One is the cancer. The other is the money that you will go through trying to support yourself during that time when reduced income is coming in. I mean, when I was going through my cancer 17 years ago, just parking at Sunnybrook every day was $20 for Andrew to come see me. And everybody who came to see me from the family had to pay for parking there. Plus, I had disability insurance because I was working full time at the time. But if I was doing what I'm doing now, I would have had reduced coverage. I now have that solved up for myself now as well. But a lot of people get hurt financially because they don't have what we call living benefits. And that's what I want to talk to the family about today. It's about what do you do if something were to happen to you and your income were to be cut in half because you're not working and you're part of the gig economy. If it's hard at 100% of your income, how are you going to survive on 60% or nothing for an extended period of time, because you don't know what you don't know? Also, do you have the documentation in place to give someone the authority to go and solve your problem for you if you are in the hospital and cannot represent yourself? So someone can go into your bank account on your behalf and take care of business, someone you trust. And someone can go and tell the doctors and medical staff what your wishes are if you can't speak for yourself. Those are two documents we're going to talk about today.
There is Wayne's Calendly link. Tell
Perfect.
him.
Thank you, Dr. Vibe.
No problem. Tell him that Dr. Vibe told you to see him. Absolutely. And there he is on Instagram, and there is email wise. And before we get in the topic, if you follow Wayne on his Instagram, you would notice recently he had a nice little trip to the Niagara region of Ontario. What were you doing in the Niagara region, Mr. Harris and Angie Harris?
Dr. Vibe, we were out there on a trip for our team. So the brokers took the agents out who qualified for the program. We covered their meal and their hotel, and we went out to Niagara, did a little retreat, but we went to Wayne Gretzky Winery. And let me tell you, I imbibe and I partake of wine. Red wine is my jam. Dry red wine. I'm not a sweet wine person. And Wayne Gretzky's wine was pretty good. When I compare that to what I normally drink from Italy and the United States, on par, and the pricing was about the same. But one of the things that Wayne Gretzky does very well, which I was shocked, is he has a whiskey and he has a cream like a Bailey's, but made with maple syrup.
Oh,
it's unbelievable and
okay.
so inexpensive. His whiskey, and honestly, I've paid twice or three times for a bottle. His bottle of whiskey is $35, and it's as smooth as anything you'll pay for $70.
Wow.
So I was shocked. So if you want a nice little sipper with a little bit of ice, Wayne Gretzky's whiskey is very good. And if you are a Bailey's person, you like Bailey's, this maple syrup, there's two flavors, but the one flavor I tasted with the maple syrup was outstanding. I just can't drink that cream stuff anymore, but it was very, very good. So we had 2 days out there. We learned some things, and we, fellowship and food, and that's always good.
Wayne, it's time to get into this conversation. So where do you want to start the engine?
Well, first, let's go through what I learned in university. It's called a pestle analysis. Pestle. P, political. What's going on politically? Well, the Bank of Canada is looking at raising rates again before the end of the year. So they're already, as they would say, broken the back of people right now, the interest rates, and they're going to increase those interest rates over time. Ray McMillan can speak to this, that people, in order to keep if they have the opportunity, they're keeping their payments the same, but they're extending the amortization 50, 60, 70 years to keep what they're paying the same. And those who can't do that have seen their payments almost double if they're on a variable rate. Then you have the people who have fixed rates, who are year 4 or year 5, coming up on year 5 of their 5-year fix. And they're going to come out of a very low interest rate into a market where the interest rates are going to be double or triple what they were paying before. And they have to find that money instantly to keep their homes. So the echo of that, and Ray can correct me if I'm wrong, but the echo of that to go through the economy is going to take 12 to 18 months. So we're seeing the pain now of what was done in 2022, and we're going to see what's done in 2023. The pain of that's going to come to 2024. So from a political perspective, raising the rates, the U.S. having an election next year, Trudeau on his last legs, and the Conservatives up in the polls. And if they were to do an election today, the Conservatives would win Parliament. Very, very interesting stuff. So that's political. Let's look at economic. Economic, PE. Let's talk about what you need to make in Toronto or in Ontario in order for you to pay rent. Excuse me. So if you work a 40-hour week and 30% of your monthly income is going towards rent and mortgage, what do you need to earn in Ontario per hour in order for you to live decently and feed yourself? You need to make $29.90 minimum to live in Ontario. And at the current minimum wage, in order for you to work a week and live, you need to work 100 hours a week at minimum wage. It's unsustainable. So when I see people, I'm talking to a lot of kids recently. People are asking me to talk to the youth and talk to them about money. I see these guys walking away from university, walking away from college, walking away from skilled trades to go do general labor in factories for $16, $17, $18 an hour. Now, Dr. Vibe, when we were their age, someone told you making $18 an hour, you were a don. It's great. But if $29.90 is the minimum bar to live decently in Toronto, a lot of our people are at risk. So that's E, the economy. Let's look at S, what's going on with society. Well, let's look at our refugees coming in from Africa. Let's look at where the city of Toronto is begging for money from the province and the federal government. Yet our prime minister has just sent another promise of money to Ukraine. Now listen, I have nothing against Ukraine, right? But they're in Ukraine. We have people who are in Canada, in Toronto, suffering. And these people are here on our soil and need to be taken care of. If you take care of that, I have no problem with you taking care of Ukraine or anybody else. But if you're not going to take care of this, I have a challenge. So that's S for society. And the cost of living and the cost of groceries and the grocery stores kind of working together to make sure prices stay as high as humanly possible, because everyone expects it to be expensive. So why not make it expensive and have some of the highest profits that we've seen? Metro was on strike. They now have money to pay their workers. Sobeys, Loblaw, these are the companies that run the grocery game in Canada. And they're doing what they're doing to maximize their profits and their shareholder value, which is their mandate as a corporation. Their social responsibility should also be there, and they'll say they do that and they give back to charities and whatnot. But if I look at the grocery bags that my wife brings home now and she shows me the receipt, there's a lot less on that receipt for the same size grocery bag, or the grocery bag is smaller. So that's S. T, technology. Well, ChatGPT, as we know, and AI is still on the move. People have to embrace AI. You need to open up a ChatGPT account and see what you can do to go onto YouTube and learn about this technology and the technology that's going to drive innovation over the next couple of years. The courses that I took in university had nothing to do with my career. The career I had in cybersecurity did not exist when I went to university in the 80s. It's going to be the same thing for these kids today. What they're going to work on later on in life has nothing to do with what they're learning in school. Nobody knew about Microsoft Office in the 1980s when I was going to school. I think there was something called SuperCalc, and I didn't have a computer, so I didn't know anything about it, right? And there was another, you remember Corel and Corel Draw? We're talking like 30 years ago. I mean,
yes, Corel Draw, yep.
Right. Corel was one of the biggest companies in Canada. Gone. We don't even know who Corel is. We don't know who Nortel is. We don't know who BlackBerry is. Things change. The only thing you can guarantee is things are going to change. You need to pivot rather than panic. There's certain things that cannot be replicated by a computer, and you should look at those things that add the most value so you can make money. And then let's look at L, legal. Things are changing. So from a legal perspective, I'm watching what landlords are doing with tenants. Landlords are saying, listen, I'm going to raise your rent to whatever I need the rent to be in order for me to cover my mortgage, if the building was built after 2018. So if you're with one of those newfangled buildings down around the Sky Dome, I still call it Sky Dome, shout out to Sky Dome, shout out to the ACC. I don't know anything about Scotiabank Arena and Rogers Center. It's Sky Dome and ACC, and that's what it will be for me for life. Listen, I'm still supporting the Expos. They've been gone since 1994. So just to put things in context, I'm OG. If you are looking at having a leg to stand on as a landlord in this province with this landlord-tenant tribunal, and again, Ray and Tim and these guys who are out there in real estate can back my words up, it's very difficult as a landlord to get rid of a tenant in the province of Ontario. I mean, scarily so. That you cannot get rid of people. I'm just deciding they don't want to pay. People are going on rent strikes, saying in the building, saying, no, we're not paying. You want to raise the rent, you're not doing any maintenance. Well, I'm not doing any maintenance because my rents are too low and my costs are too high. Gas has gone up, oil has gone up, electricity has gone up, but your rent can go up. Listen, I've been a landlord, I've been a tenant. I feel for both sides, but there's too much opportunity in Canada for you to be broke. Back in the day, yes, you had to go to, Humber College, shout out to my alma mater, Humber. You have to go to college, you have to go to university, even you have to go to skilled trade to go get something done. But the barrier of entry to get into some of these things is so low now. Yes. That even if you go to YouTube for 500 hours and say, I want to be a kitchen cabinet hanger, let's say, because again, AI can't replace kitchen cabinet hanging. And you go onto YouTube and watch HGTV for 500 hours, you'll know how to hang a kitchen cabinet.
And that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. Seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and just people that, don't always represent the best of us, the diversity, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe.
They
Dr.
really
Vibe
should.
he's trying to do good work for Black people.
Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. A lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. Helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
Pestle is Pestle. We didn't get to the last E. The last E is environmental. And when I want to talk about the environment, I want to talk about your body being the environment. Because the cost of groceries is so high, people are making compromises and they're buying food that has zero nutrition or no nutrition, but will fill them up. So they're buying cheaper quality food with very low nutritional value in order to feed their families 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. And that's going to have the echo of that is going to cause problems for people and the kids.
But Wayne, we're already seeing the effects, and it hasn't even really come in yet for people like the baby boomers, all that. And I guess this is where it's a good intro into the living benefits. Like myself, I'm changing my dietary habits.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, for many years, I thought eating healthy is so expensive. It's not.
Right.
It's the absolute opposite.
Correct.
So you know what? With that segue, we're going to go live on Instagram. And Wayne, let's get into the whole area of living benefits. I know you shared a little bit of your experience 17 years ago, and I'll never again, one of the things I don't forget in our journey of relationship was that conversation we had in your hospital room. So
exactly.
Go for it.
And thanks for coming to visit me back
always, man. Always. Thank you so much for still being with us.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of the things I want to talk about here is leaving without being seen, LWBS. This is going to the hospital, showing up in emergency, going through all the paperwork, sitting in an emergency room or a hallway for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours without being seen by a specialist. It's happening all over Canada. And there was a lady in Cape Breton just the other day.
It's worse in the U.S., Wayne, by the way. So it's just challenging the U.S. too. So we have North American clients here.
Right. Well, I'll tell you this. In the States, if you have enough money, you have the right benefits. You can go to multiple hospitals and you can solve your problem. In Canada, you have multiple hospitals to go to. But what they've done over the last number of years is have hospitals specialize in different things. Princess Margaret does cancer. This one does trauma. This one does something else. So all the hospitals have specialized. They can all do sort of everything in emergency, but some hospitals are predisposed to do certain things and others are not. So you don't have a duplication of effort. The challenge is wait times are getting longer, and the further you move away from the CN Tower being the middle of the circle, the further you go away from the CN Tower, the worse it gets. And in the Maritime, this lady went out to the hospital, was feeling some pain, went in there, didn't get seen for 7 hours, went home, and she died while she was at home. Wow. No reason for this lady to die, right? Now, what I want to talk about is if you are a two-person household, two-parent household, right, which happens in our community, maybe about 13% of the time.
Wow. Can you say that fact again?
Okay. I'll say it the other way, which is when we normally hear it. 87% of our community are single parent homes. Okay. If someone has different stats, let me know. Those are the last stats I heard. 75 to 87%, but even 75% is terrible. Single moms. Okay. I was raised by a single mom. And then my mother died when I was 11 years old. That put a shockwave emotionally and spiritually through our family. But the shockwave was not financial. Why? Because she had certain things in place that here it is 45 years later. I'm out there talking to people and they don't have it in place. So I just want to share this screen because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is cancer is happening all over the place in Canada. I'm going to hit the present button and do share screen, or did you do it last
No,
time?
I take care of that. So
okay, perfect.
Here we go. And I'm going to just make sure I move the lower third so it can be seen clearly. So there we go.
Perfect. So upper left-hand corner, big bubble, cancer is the #1 cause of death in Canada. In the middle, 233,900 Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer in 2022. These stats are from last year. 2 in 5 Canadians will develop cancer in their lifetime. I'm one of them. 85,100 Canadians will die from cancer in 2022. 1 in 4 will die from cancer, and 5-year cancer survival rate is about 64%. Now, last I checked, Dr. Vibe, there are billions of dollars by multiple organizations all over the world putting money into cancer research to raise that number. I'm shocked that number is only 64%. I thought with all the billions of dollars and all the new technology and all the new things that are going on, this number would be somewhere north of 80.
Yeah,
is what I would expect in 2023. Anybody on the line that thinks that number is too low, let me know. But I think there's so much money in cancer and all the systems and people who get paid by cancer. I don't think they want to get rid of it.
Wayne, I just want to interrupt, and maybe these stats are not available. I'd like to know what percentage of this is impacted by the Black community.
Right. Well, I had the slides based on race. Yeah. I don't have it here with me, but I can send them to you. You can put it out.
Sure.
But we have certain cancers that affect us differently, and Canada is notorious for not doing race-based statistics.
Yeah.
So when we get stats out of the U.S. and they have everything Hispanic, Black, Asian, this and that. In Canada, we are, I don't know what it is, but we don't want to do it, don't want to do the work. So these are generic statistics. If anybody has anything a little more culturally detailed, let me know. Okay. So all I want to say is cancer is a big deal. And 1 in 4, there's 2 of us on the screen, and it was 1 in 2, you and me. I had cancer, you have not. God bless you for not having it. But that's 50% of the
my dad had prostate cancer, so there you go.
There you go. So if we turn to the left, we turn to the right, and neither one of them have cancer, chances are we have cancer. So let's talk about critical illness insurance. There are 3 types of insurance. Well, 4, but we won't talk about the 4th. The first one is life insurance. And we've talked about this before. Life insurance can help you. Everyone is going to pass away at some time. We don't know when, right? Some people are minutes away. Some people are hours away. Some people are days and years away. Some people are decades away. We don't know, right? As my father would say, my late father would say, you don't know when you're born and you don't know when you die. Critical illness is an insurance that gives you a lump sum of tax-free money for you to solve your problem and pay your bills while you convalesce. Life insurance that pays only when you die is what they call temporary or term insurance. Life insurance that will pay you while you're alive and when you die is permanent insurance. There are 2 types of permanent insurance. One, whole life insurance, which means the company does all the work for you and you get a return on your benefits. So you have a death benefit and you have cash value, and the cash value is controlled by the company. Whole life insurance. You have a death benefit and the cash value that you can control the investment. Universal life. I offer both. Both make sense depending on where you are in age and depending on what you want to do. If you want to control it, universal life. If you want the company to do it for you, whole life. Those are life insurance policies, term and permanent. Now we're going to look at living benefits. Living benefit number 1, disability insurance. If you get sick or injured, can you go off and have the insurance pay for you on a monthly drip? Disability. Some of you have it with work. Some of you buy it yourself out of your own pocket. Disability. I'm sick. I'm hurt. I can't work. I want this thing to kick in. 30 days after I get hurt, 60 days after I get hurt, or 119 days after I get hurt, because I have maybe employment insurance covering some of it in the beginning, and then this will take over. I can have it pay me for 2 years, 5 years, or to age 65. Disability. Critical illness is different, because critical illness, you don't have an upper limit on what you can get. With disability, you can get more disability than 60% of your gross salary. That's the maximum. They won't give you a dime more. You have a low salary, you get low disability. You have a high salary, you get high disability. If you get disability, you have to show the insurance company what your income normally was, because the last thing they want is you making more money on disability than when you were working full time. So disability is always going to be a lower percentage of your income, whether you're employed or self-employed. They're going to say, show me your tax papers, and you're going to get a percentage of that number. So I see a lot of people saying, I only make $40,000 a year, and they're trying to avoid taxes. Now they're disabled, they get 60% of 40%. Oops. But you should be making $150,000 a year, but your disability is based on your income. And you say you make $40,000 a year. So the insurance company is going to say, I'm not going to give you 60% of 150. I'm going to give you 60% of 40. So watch how you're playing your games. Okay. I also have the ability to do overhead expenses. So if you have disability insurance and you have rent and equipment rental and these sort of things, I can cover the overhead. And then that's not based on income. It's based on the overhead you have. I will cover that overhead for 2 years, 5 years, or to age 65. Okay. Can be very expensive if you don't know what you're doing. The third, go ahead.
No, good. Go finish your third and I'll catch up with some comments.
So that's disability. Now we're in critical illness. Critical illness is a lump sum, and you determine what that lump sum is going to be. Most people use rule of thumb, and they say, I'm going to use 1 year of my gross salary. So if I get sick, I can break the glass, take out $100,000 tax-free cash, and I can use that to solve my problem medically. But if OHIP, or in Quebec, RAMQ, or in the States, the hospital and the benefits I have are covering it, critical illness doesn't care what you do with the money. It does not have to be used for getting you back to health. If the system that you're in, wherever it is solving your problem, you can use a critical illness for anything you want, which means you could put it into your tax-free savings account in the United States. You could put it in your Roth IRA. You have a massive cash infusion. You can keep that money tax-free for the rest of your life. You can pay bills. You can go to school. You can do whatever you like. I would hope that you would invest it and have the money make money on the money. So insurance is paid as a tax-free lump sum amount that can be used in any way you choose, such as the 4 illnesses account for 85% of the industry's paid critical illness claims, according to the Munich Re Individual Insurance Survey 2022. So you can get 4 illnesses or 25 illnesses. I get 25 illnesses because I want to cover as many things as possible. Loss of sight, loss of hearing, loss of limb, loss of organ, all things heart, all things cancer. One policy will cover you for all of it. It will replace your income or that of your spouse who may take time off from work to be with you and take care of you. It can repay certain financial obligations such as your mortgage, access medical treatment not covered by public insurance plans, and much more. It means that if there's a clinical trial for a certain drug and Canada says, nah, Health Canada, we're not paying for that drug. That drug is $2,000 a pill and it will save your life, but we're not going to do it. Well, now you're dying. Or you have critical illness. You get in a plane, you go to the United States, you see where they have the pill, you buy the pill, you live. I want you to think about COVID about 2 years ago, maybe 2021, 2 years ago, when all hospital beds were COVID and everything that was elective was canceled.
Yeah.
And what if you had stage 4 cancer? So now you have stage 4 cancer, all the beds are COVID. What do? You better have a way to figure it out. Can you go to Cuba? Can you go to Costa Rica? Can you go to the United States? Can you go to the UK? Where can you go and get your problem solved? Critical illness will give you the flexibility to go get that done. So here's an example, because sometimes you have to make it real. Mother with breast cancer could face over $15,000 a year in expenses for home medications, childcare expenses for her child, and uncovered medical and hospital parking fees. It's easy to imagine this situation making her feel like she's living with 2 parasites, the cancer and the financial burden over her head. Listen, if you're in a culture where 75% of you are single moms, that means you're a single point of failure. As you go, that family goes. So if the mothers out here don't have critical illness, especially if you're a single mother and you have kids under the age of 18 in your care, what do you think happens to those kids? If you're in the hospital and you're fighting for your life, now you got the stress of wondering what's happening to my kids, right? Now you don't die, you recover, but recovery takes 6 to 9 months. What would you have left when you get out of the hospital? You know, they take the gown off, they clap for you in the wheelchair, and the cab comes to pick you up to take you home. What are you going back home to? No bills have been paid for 9 months. What's your credit look like? Is your house still yours, or did it get foreclosed on? Is your car still yours, or did they repo it? Right? You have to understand this has major, major implications. And medical bankruptcy happens most predominantly in the United States because they don't have universal medicine, but it can happen here too. And even if you didn't go bankrupt, your credit is trashed, and it'll take years to reestablish. So by having that lump sum, you can protect yourself. And here's the good news. Here's the good news. Certain policies have the ability to have what we call return of premium on 2 factors. Return of premium means I will give you back your money if you don't get sick up to age 75. So you pay for it to age 75. Some of the policies you can pay for in 20 years that cover you to age 75. Some policies cover you to 100. But if you don't get sick, you get back every penny you paid into the policy. Right? As you get older, that rider becomes more expensive. But I'm talking about these women who are just graduating university. They got student loans to pay off the student loans. Now they're in their 30s. They're now in that tunnel of despair, 35 to 65, when breast cancer is going to start showing itself. Right around 30, when you're making that good job, you're a teacher, you're a lawyer, you're a nurse, you're doing whatever you're doing, you put aside some while you're young, while you're in perfect health, to put that policy in place. Better yet, put it in place for your children because they are very, very inexpensive. And if you get return of premium, you control it. So what does it cover? The last return of premium, I said there's 2. One is at maturity at 75. The other one is at death. So when you die, not if you die, when you die, you will get your life insurance and you will get the payout of the critical illness. You will get both. That's amazing, right? Nice. So here's what it covers in detail. Notice it has here, down on the left-hand side, dementia, including Alzheimer's. Okay. Heart attack, that's in the Black community, right? Parkinson's we're seeing a lot of. Major organ failure we're seeing a lot of due to diabetes.
Stroke. Kidney failure.
All right. So we're covering a lot of the things that happen in the Black community. And then for children, type 1 diabetes, muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, congenital heart disease, and cerebral palsy. Listen, boys and girls, the youngest you can insure a human being is 15 days old. 15 days old before the doctor's done the sickle cell test. 15 days old before the doctor does the epilepsy test. 15 days old before the doctor does the autism test. Wow. 15 days old, you lock in the health and the youth, and therefore the low price for that child. And you pay for this policy for 10, 20, whatever years you want to pay it for, or you can pay it for life. If you pay for life, obviously the premium is going to be cheaper. But when you do the math, you paid a lot of money for the policy. But this thing here, the chances of you getting sick before 65 are higher than the chances of you dying before 65. The average lifespan for a Canadian, for a man, is about 84, and for a woman is 86. So retirement's at 65. That means you're going to live another 20, 21 years, depending on how you run your life. Well, here's the challenge we have right now in Canada. There's a little group of people called the baby boomers. I am not one of them. I missed it by a couple of years. People born between 1946 and 1964. These people are the largest cohort, thanks to World War II, or despite World War II was no joke. A lot of people died, and a lot of people came home that survived and made a lot of babies. Companies like Gerber made billions with a bunch of babies at the same time.
Yep. Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson.
Baby
Mattel,
powder. Yep.
Mattel.
Yep.
Tonka.
Yep.
Right? Hasbro. Right? Made a lot of money because these kids came through. And then when they became teenagers, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's all came out, so they had a place to hang out. Then when they became young people, you look in Toronto in certain neighborhoods, you see a lot of one bedroom apartments. Why? Because they were moving out from their parents and moving into the city to go get jobs. Then you start seeing 2 bedrooms, and then you start seeing a bunch of single family homes in the new suburbs of North York, Scarborough, Rexdale, right? And then you start seeing them get even more money, and that's the birth of Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Richmond Hill, Mississauga, as they expand out. So you can tell by the demographic how things are moving.
Right.
Well, guess what? 1946 to 2011 is 65 years. That means they have the first cohort, 1946, turned 65 in 2011. They start retiring. And they start retiring really well. They got good jobs. They were the ones who started the unions. They got their houses for a bag of Doritos. They're living at Young and Everyone for 40 grand, right? They bought their houses 40 grand, whatever, right? Those houses now are $2 million. They're cashing out. Deuces, they're out. They're going to Florida and taking all that money tax-free with them. But guess what? They're also getting sick. They're also getting sick. And sometimes they're not dying. They're just getting sick. Long-term care costs a minimum of $2,000 a month. Sometimes a pension will take care of it. Sometimes it won't. There's public long-term care and there's private long-term care. Private long-term care costs you 10 grand a month. Puts me in the squeeze generation. I have children on one side needing me, and I have my parents on the other side needing me. Some of you are also in the squeeze generation. So if you're going to get squeezed, you better make sure your parents have things in place. You better have things in place, because if you're the single point of failure and you go down, both generations suffer because of you. So now we're going through a 20-year run, 2011 to 2031. We have 8 years left where the largest transfer of wealth is happening, and it's happening in the Black community, and we have nothing in place, or very little. I won't disparage us. We have very little in place. I have clients of all races and cultures, and when I do the financial needs analysis with these clients, I see what certain cultures are doing. Even guys who were mechanics have hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they come from a European culture. I meet the same mechanic in our culture and they have nothing. It's going to be a problem, and we need to protect ourselves, because the last thing you want to be is sick and broke. Okay? Sick is bad. Sick and broke is worse. Here's another point, Dr. Vibe. So imagine you go to the hospital, the doctor says whatever he or she says to you, and a lot of us don't want to advocate for ourselves. We come from a culture where whatever the doctor says is gospel, because we watched Marcus Willoughby back in the day. I'm dating myself, right? Quincy, and, these all right, hospital shows, and the doctor is always right. Well, the doctor's not always right, and sometimes the doctors have less. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he had a poor score on the golf course the day before, and you happen to get him on a Monday, and he didn't want to give you everything he had in his brain, or he was distracted, because he's human. And I say he, don't get mad at me, he or she. So guess what? What if you had a facility that could get you a second opinion, and they didn't know that you were Black? They didn't know anything about you. You just put in the information and say, this is what's going on. I need your advice, and send them to pathology. And you could put Jane Doe. They give you a second opinion or a third opinion of your doctor. You take that back to your hospital and say, hey, what about this, this, and this? Hey, trust me when I tell you, my doctor, when I was diagnosed, and by the way, I found out that I had cancer. I'll talk about it in November. But I found out I had cancer because I applied for life insurance, and they had to do the paramedical, take blood and urine and all that. And when they did that at 39, they said, yeah, we'll take a paramedical. I said, no problem, paramedical. I'm 39. I'm still playing ball. I'm in good shape. Let's go. They found out during the paramedical that I had cancer.
Wow.
Before my doctor found out.
Wow.
So when you apply for insurance and you have to get a paramedical, no cost to you. But the insurance company doesn't want to insure people that aren't going to be here. They want those premiums for as long as humanly possible. So the paramedical goes deep, sometimes deeper than your own doctor will go. Because if you ever go for a blood test, you see your doctor, you see a lot of things that are not checked off. The doctor says, I just want you to do this, do that, do this, check on that, check on this. And you go get a blood test at whatever lab is in their building. A lot of things are left unchecked. The insurance company's going to check those boxes. They need to check for everything to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best things you can do is get a paramedical from an insurance company, because they're going to find it to protect themselves. And in the end, protect you. So they found my cancer through the paramedical. When I went, my doctor said, hey, go see my buddy upstairs I'm on floor number 4. Go see this guy on floor number 3. I said, nope. I had a tool called Best Doctors. And I went to Best Doctor and said, who's the biggest, baddest, bushiest urologist in the GTA? And 3 names came up. None of the 3 he gave me. I said to him, I need you to refer me to these 3 doctors. He goes, why? My guy's good. I said, I need you to refer me to these 3 doctors, or I'll get another doctor who will. And I got my referral. I went to Princess Margaret. I talked to Tony Finelli, who was just starting with a robot surgery at the time. He was like less than 100 surgeries in. Not enough for me. The other guy, John Trachtenberg, never got back to me. He's super busy at Princess Margaret. And then Dr. Lawrence Klotz at Sunnybrook got back to me. He's a fellow at U of T in medicine and was teaching techniques. And I got him. If you could get Michael Jordan for the price of somebody who's on the bench of the Raptors, why would you get the guy on the bench of the Raptors? No disrespect to him. He's in the NBA too. But I'd take Michael Jordan all day. Klotz was probably Scottie Pippen, at the peak of Scottie Pippen, where Trachtenberg was probably Michael Jordan. And it's tomato. It was 1996 Bulls. Either one of them are going to get you, right? So I got Dr. Klotz, and I'm here 17 years later to tell the tale. So get a second opinion. This is in the policy that you will be able to get access to a second opinion. In the end, those of us who are on here from the Caribbean and in America, we hold doctors up on a pedestal. While you're a doctor, there's a lot of studying, a lot of school. You're very intelligent, blah, 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 blah. But again, there's bias. Doctors have a feeling about who you are and who you represent and what you represent. And if that doctor's bias is not in alignment with your own bias for yourself, I'm not saying they're doing bad things to us, but there's enough data in the United States to say that if a Black woman goes to a hospital and she's pregnant, she's going to have a much harder time surviving not only the pregnancy, so the delivery and the labor, but the post-labor help that she's going to need. A lot of these women die by bleeding out, and a lot of things that just work to rule in a lot of cases in the United States, and you have the data in the United States to support it. I've got to say that I've seen enough reports in Canada where they do the same thing to the Indigenous, and they do the same thing to people of color in Canada. The stats are there in BC, and they talk about the Indigenous going to hospital, and they say, "Oh, this guy is just drunk," and the guy dies on the table because the racist comments were actually caught on the cell phone of somebody who was in the room, where they just dismissed this guy, and this guy died in BC because the medical staff were, for lack of a better term, racist. They wouldn't even give him a chance. So I am not leaving UFC. I watch it, Ultimate Fighting Championship. I do not leave it up to the judges. I will do whatever I can to advocate for myself and anybody who's in the hospital. My father's journey from being deemed terminal with cancer in 2022 and passing away in March of this year proved to me that if he had to navigate that by himself at 89, he would have died he would have died in 2022. My sister and myself were in that hospital, tagging in and tagging out. I'm driving back and forth from Montreal. People say, why don't you just stay in Montreal? Because I'm a father. See this ring? That means I cleave to my wife and my family. My father had his family. I have mine. So I got to take care of mine here. I'm going to go help him but I got to take care of mine. So I would go to Montreal, do what I got to do, get out of there, come back home and take care of what I got married to do, is take care of myself and my family. Right? That's my first priority. He's important, and it was urgent at times. And my wife said, go, do what you got to do when it was urgent. But once we got him to stability, then my responsibility is to my family. Right? So I don't have any sleepless nights on that. He was very, very happy to see us. We drove through a massive snowstorm on Christmas Day last year to get to Montreal to go see him for his last Christmas. I was there, and we sat and we ate chicken wings together in the room and watched the Super Bowl. But let me tell you, everybody in that hospital, shout out to Mount Sinai and Côte Saint Luc, everybody who was there knew that at any given time I could show up. 6'3", 225 pounds. And I would look at them and say, listen, we're not playing that game. This is what you're going to do. This is your job. And I advocate for my father and made sure that these guys did with their job. I didn't threaten anybody. Well, once I did. But I let them know that on any given day or night, 1 a.m, 2 p.m, I could show up random. So they had to be on their toes. Because when you don't have someone advocating for you, they just work to the minimum bar.
Yeah.
And I get it. They're overworked. They're understaffed. I understand all that. But if you don't put in the work that my sister and I did, your parents are going to have a very hard time in this system here in Canada.
And part of that work is getting the critical illness in place too.
1,000%. I do what I do because, being raised by a single mother and then being raised by a single father and being on my own from 19, I haven't always had, the easiest path. I made life a little bit harder for myself by leaving home at 19, but I thought I was ready. At 57, I think if I was as smart as I was at 19, I might be Prime Minister of Canada. Because at 19,
would you want that job?
I don't want it.
There you go.
I think about how smart I thought I was at 19, 20, 21. And when I look back, I'm almost scared of how little I know, because I know how little I know today. And that was a long time ago. But what I do know is this. There are systems in place for you to win. There are systems in the healthcare system and the insurance system designed, yes, for the insurance company to make money, but also designed to guarantee a non-catastrophic financial loss. That's what insurance is. It's risk management for lives. And they know the numbers better than everybody else. And they know all communities better than anybody else, even though they may not publish race-based stats. They have them. They have them. They know. So here's the deal. Mitigate your risk by putting things in place for you. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the next generation. If you can't do it for the next generation, at least inform them that the solutions are there. And that's why I do what I do. Because last night I was talking to a lady and she's like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I said, she told me single mom. I said, okay, no problem. I go 2 kids, 15 and 6. I go 15 and 6. Okay, it's a nice spread. I said, free babysitting. I said, what if you were to go to work tomorrow and not come home? What would happen to your children?
Bam.
And she was like, well, they go to my mom. I said, no, they wouldn't. Well, they go to his mom. I go, no, they wouldn't. Where do they go, Dr. Vibe? If you have nothing documented on who they are and who should take care of them. Foster. Where do they go? Exactly.
Foster care.
Exactly. So I saw her face last night, and it was how she did not know this, the impact, the implication of her not doing what she's supposed to do. So one of the things I love about the show is that we take away the excuse that you didn't know.
Thank you.
I come on, now you know.
Yep.
Ray comes on, now you know. Tim comes on, whomever comes on, now you can't say you don't know, because the replays are going to be there.
Yep,
can't
forever.
say you don't know. So we're taking away plausible deniability.
Yeah. So all I can say, encouraging people, is when Wayne or Ray comes on, then next, make a decision and take action.
That's it.
Right. As I say, no buts. So that's not only BUT, but also BUTT. Right. Get off the BUT and at least contact Wayne and have that conversation, because he can go into a deeper dive. And again, what he says stays between you and him. He's bound by that. So I know a lot of people who are Black. Oh, I don't want to tell people my business and this and that. Well, perfect example. That lady in that house that he was speaking with last night. Hello. She's got to think it's bigger than her.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the impact and what's the implication of your decision to not make a decision?
Wayne, as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your positive, productive schedule, more importantly, out of your family schedule, to share with us what's upcoming for you that we should or maybe need to know about.
Right now, we're going to have another webinar in 2 weeks. So I'll put the flyer out. I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
Dr. Vibe.
yeah. Send. You know what I'm going to do? Send it to me, and I'm going to post it on my YouTube page.
Okay.
So people will get notified about it. So yeah, I'll post on my YouTube page as a post, so everyone will know about it. Elemental Note says, "Great information, and thank you for sharing and opening up about your story."
Thank you, Donnelly. Yeah, this weekend is long weekend, so I'm going to do a little relaxation. I'm getting ready to do a little bit more travel very soon, and I'll let you know how Reverend Wayne does it.
My brother, make sure you give yourself grace, you and the family, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And thank you, as always, for over 30 years and still going. Wayne's contact information, everybody. Another great segment. And I have to say, all the segments are great that Wayne comes on for, but that one is especially great for me because he shared some of his story with his father, and we were communicating offline through that, and I was keeping in touch with him. So for him to share about that, I appreciate it, not take it for granted. So everybody, thank you for tuning in today. All of y'all, as we would say, all y'all. So a few last things before we call it a day. As always, if you haven't, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business, product, or service on the Dr. Vibe Show, please email me at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And always join the Morning Vibe Show Discord page. Email me dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of the Morning Vibe Show at the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight on YouTube. So let's end it off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions that aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. So if you're watching this live or before, I believe, I'm going to say before October 9th, 2023, we'll probably do a replay on Monday morning because celebrate the long weekend. But I'm going to see Ryan and I may come on and just chop it up. Next Friday, tentatively, we have Moses Bawa from Afro Global Television. They'll be talking about their annual Afro Global Awards Gala coming up a week. So normally on the second Monday of each month, we have Carolyn from Energy Shack Juice Bar. She will not be on because of the weekend, but she's going to be on the week after. So that's the 16th of October. She'll be on. I'll be doing that post over the next few days, so you'll get notified ahead of time. Let's do one last comment, and that will be it. Travoy says, happy Thanksgiving as well. Fantastic. All right. That's it. That's a wrap. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith and walk good.
Here we go.